David Cameron has won a second term as Prime Minister in the UK, and even more important to him, his Conservative Party, also known as the Tories, achieved an overall majority. Now, this is huge news for the UK, and it's something that will obviously have ramifications for the world. It's also something that Elliot and Mark have talked a lot about on the Lip TV. We wanted to make sure we brought you the information here on the Lip TV too. Nick, let me tell you a little of the numbers, because it was pretty surprising to a lot of people. Going into the election, the polls were showing sort of a dead heat. We might have had a hung parliament. There would be no clear majority. Not the case at all. Of the 650 seats, the Conservative Party won 331, the Labour Party 232, which was considered pretty dismal. The Scottish National Party 56, Liberal Democrats 8, and Democratic Unionist Party 8. Now, the head of the Labour Party, Ed Miliband, and Nick Clegg of the Liberal Democrats both stepped down today amidst the dismal results for both of their parties. I'm sure you read a lot about the polls going into it. Seeing these results, what's your takeaway?
My takeaway, first off, as an American who lives in this country with a completely different type of system, this is such a confusing way of doing things. The way that they have all the different kind of parties. We have two here, right?
Right.
Completely different kind of views and ideologies, so it's pretty easy to get a hold of, but when I'm reading about this kind of stuff, it's very overwhelming.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I can clear that up for you. Look at that.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
Asking you shall receive. So the Conservatives, I'll break it down, stick with me on this one. The Conservatives are a center-right party. They tend to support the free market and usually are a bit more socially conservative. You can liken that to, the United States' GOP on more of the centrist side of things, obviously not the Tea Party, the right wing. Labour is the center-left. It's historically allied with the trade union movement. It's also pro-Europeanism. Liberal Democrats are different from Labour. They are considered socially liberal and progressive. They're not obviously totally different from the Labour Party, but they are two distinct parties with slight differences. They promote the modern liberal values, and they support helping people and improving their lives as sort of the necessities of life, the basics, right? It sounds pretty good to most of us, but there is a dichotomy and a different belief system, much like we have here in the U.S. That would obviously liken to the Democratic Party. Right. A lot of similarities. Then you have the SNP, which is the Nationalist Social Democratic Party in favor of Scottish independence from the UK, while still supporting the continued pooling of sovereignty in a more integrated European Union. So I hope that clears up a little. Just for what it's worth, the Democratic Unionists are hardline National Conservative Party in Northern Ireland. They side mostly sort of, or more, I guess, lean more with evangelicals. So that sort of puts it in puts a better picture on it. They would lean to the far right here in the United States. So that's a little bit of a breakdown of the different parties. Hopefully that clears things up for you a little bit.
Yeah, it did. But one thing that's still quite ironic to me, the fact how well the Scottish National Party did is kind of ironic because of this. It's like Scottish nationalism, right? We saw not long ago the referendum. They voted no, right? They wanted to stay part of the UK. And now it's like they have a great say on what happens in the UK. So that's really ironic, the fact that, they're the Scottish nationalists. They ended up wanting to stay, and now they have such a great say in the parliament. That's pretty interesting to me.
Well, they definitely have increased value, right? But because Cameron and the Conservatives, the Tories, got the majority, they actually have a little bit less power than they might have had he not gotten the majority. Because, of course, if Cameron needed them, then they would have had a lot more leverage to work with. Cameron doesn't need them as much. So because of that, yes, it's absolutely an improvement. It's sort of startling in the UK. People did not expect the SNP party to gain that many seats. But again, it'll be interesting to see how that works. I did want to point out there are sort of three key things that Cameron faces going forward, the economy being one of them, the referendum, because he pledged a referendum on the British membership to the European Union. Now that he's been reelected, he'll have to follow through on that. They believe it'll take place toward the end of 2017. And the third issue is that of the United Kingdom in general and sort of the Scottish issue, particularly now that SNP has more power. So, like I said, we wanted to give you a bit of a rundown because it's been covered on the Lip TV, but we hope that we provided some greater insight. Tell us in the comments down below, are you excited to see Cameron stay in power for another 5 years, or were you hoping for someone else to step up to the plate? As always, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to subscribe to the Lip TV too.